if we're in this position here, and Cash, I'll break this. And we have to define things in terms of either he's a high and tight mount or he's a low and wide mount. Not gonna be a whole lot of in between. This is where I would like point out the difference specifically. And because like he could get like real low, and I would not call this a low mount, right? It's low in terms of verticality, right? But look at his knees. Look at the angle from shoulder to hip to knee. If that's an acute angle, it's a high mount. If it's an obtuse angle, here, right? Press your hips forward more, and yeah, this is a low mount, right? Because now this is a, like, obtuse. Is that the right thing? Yeah, okay, whatever. So when we're here, right? Now, most of the time, people will, when they first establish mount, it's very rare, like if we get a high mount again, it's rare that somebody would get to mount with their hands never touching the ground. I can't even recall ever seeing that happen. I watch a lot of MMA and a lot of street fights. This doesn't happen. It has to happen that his hands are on the ground at least for a second before he sits up and starts punching me in the face. So I would like to try to take advantage of that. Now, here's the big thing. Just like Mike was talking about, to reiterate a couple of his points or to paraphrase a couple of his points, see how high his knees are here? The higher his knees are, that means he's more off my center, right? That means that my bridge is gonna affect him less the higher he is. Like right here, he's still fairly over my center, so my bridge will affect him. Slide up higher, nothing, right? No bridge there, okay? So don't let this happen, right? If it does happen, fix it. Like, just don't get here. So, but if we're here, I wanna keep kind of T-Rex arms in. And granted, yeah, there's a prospect of him punching me in the face. So instinct tells me, close your eyes to protect them, turn your face away, and then put some kind of barrier. This is instinct. That sucks, right? Sometimes instincts lead us very wrong. So instead, elbows down here, right? And collect an arm. If his arm is this close to my shoulder or my head, I can collect it. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna collect it quickly. I personally like to teach to take the extra second to switch. That's a fraction of a second. If you can get good at this, it pays off really well. Because now, if I just do this, one, he could probably retract and slip it out. Two, if I start to go, he can maybe base a little bit still, right? So he can push through or pull out. So instead, when I collect, I pull this elbow toward his belly button and I drag. I wanna see his shoulder protrude past his elbow. That means his posture is breaking this direction, right? And I've got this double clamp here like this, right? I've got a Sasquatch grip, I'll explain. When we get here, I trap the foot on the same side, I look over to the direction I'm gonna take him, and I start to bridge my hips up and over, mostly up more than over. Here, this way. And immediately, regardless if this is self-defense or sport, I like to go here. I stay low first, wrist to biceps, elbows down, fingers down and over this way, head low. Okay? Like if he got here, right? Now, why would he be this high? Well, partly because he's trying to like scoot up on me, right? Or maybe he started to sit up so that he could punch me in the face more effectively. And so go ahead and sit up and punch me in the face. And I pulled him back down. If I'm gonna bump him back down like this because I don't like when he sits up and punches me in the face, then the way that I like to recommend it, like this is my suggestion, my opinion on how to accomplish that. So he goes to sit up. Again, hopefully he's got clothes on, right? It's still, you can figure it out if he were naked, but let's not talk about that. Like we get here, I'm gonna grab some material here, I'm gonna bump with my leg, and I'm gonna bridge off of the remaining leg. And that's typically gonna throw him forward. Now, what will happen though, is that his arm's a little too high for me to wanna risk overextending and reaching, because look how, again, I don't like crossing my center line. Bad things happen. If he collapses his weight on top of me now, this sucks, right? So I'm not gonna reach across to here now, right? So the gauge I like to use is if I look out to the side and I can clearly see under his arm is too high for me to pull down. So if I'm not gonna pull, then I'm gonna push, because jujitsu. So when we go here, I'm gonna C-clamp just above the elbow toward the tricep on both sides, and I'm gonna shove out here. Almost like I'm doing a really sloppy punch parry, right? I'm shoving him off to the side. And I'm gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep shoving him down and off of me. And he won't like it, and he'll try to turn back and square up against me. So as he turns back to square against me, he can't do it, he can't square up without taking this hand off the ground. It's impossible, right? So as he turns back to face me, go, keep going. Yes, I'm gonna collect that arm that he picked up for me. Whatever I just took away from you is the first thing you try to get back, right? Now from here, I pull him down, boom, like this. I shove myself off to the side. He tries to turn back and face me. Oh, and he gives me his arm. Now, instead of pinning it against me, which is fine, I can do that, I feel a little more comfortable typically grabbing with this kind of shopping cart grip and stuffing it in his lower abdomen here. Now, it's very awkward for him, and again, elbow or shoulder is protruding past the elbow, and that usually shows me the direction that I need to take him, right? So that's a good little landmark to take inventory of. This is okay. It's worth taking the extra fraction of a second to switch back to here just like we did before, because you don't want to have a wrist like mine when you're my age and you get your wrist rolled like this a lot of the time. This is much more comfortable. I'm going to trap the foot on the same side. I'm going to look the direction that I'm going to go. I'm going to bridge. Everything else is the same as we did before, except now, because like I've already got this one pinned, I'm going to keep it pinned, right? So once I roll him over, now I get a little more vertical right away, because I'm not as worried about him hitting me with that one. He may glance, he may have some long arms, but it's not gonna knock me out, you know? And come on, it's a fight. You're gonna get hit, and you deserve to, because you got in a fight, right? That's your tax you have to pay, right? The worse the position is, the harder you're gonna get hit, and you deserve it. So when we get here like this, now I sit up nice and tall, right? And if he wants to take a swipe at me here, be like, oh, that was a little close, boom, right? I can return it way back harder on him because I got gravity on my side, and I can close the range that he's not allowed to because I'm pinning this down, right? Does this make sense? Yeah? One more time. So again, we get here, and either he put his hands way up there, or I pulled him down and made him put his hands up there like that, and I'm pushing myself out to the side. As I do, this one is a little more arbitrary than this one, but I still like to push both arms initially and get out here, and then keep shoving, right? To really show him that, because like if he doesn't respond and react, then I'm just gonna keep shoving my way out, right? But if he does and he'll turn back and face me, then I'm gonna tuck this back into his stomach here. Then I trap on that same side. This foot here that I'm trapping, right? So he can't post with it, just on the first technique and the second technique alike, it will always be there. And if it's not there, I didn't need it, okay? I call it the field of dreams principle. So when we get here like this, I bridge up, over, boom, this way. And then just go ahead and punch him for good measure, okay? The field of dreams principle is, if you need it, it'll be there, and if it's not there, you don't need it. Because something else better is there, right? You just gotta figure out what that is pretty quick, okay? Let's try this version, because this is one that you're gonna hit on people in practice that's gonna piss them off really bad. Because they're like, that shouldn't work. Like you're violating some pretty basic principles doing this. That it looks like you're violating, but you're not. It looks like you're violating principles, but you're gonna hit this on people that you shouldn't hit it on, and it's gonna upset them. So it's gonna be a good time for everybody. Let's go, 1, 2, 3.